In a prosperous kingdom resided a princess with hair that gleamed like gold in the sunlight. Everyone called her the Golden Princess. She was not only beautiful but also exceptional in character. Her heart was generous, and she harbored a deep love for nature and animals. She spent her days in the vast garden of the palace, tending to the plants, conversing with the birds, and listening to the sweet melody of the breeze. One day, she overheard an incredible tale, a story of a golden bird. It was said that whoever finds the bird would receive peace and prosperity in their life, and any righteous wish would come true. But the bird was not easy to find. It required pure devotion and sincerity to encounter it. The princess thought to herself, if true devotion and care can win over the golden bird, then I surely can find it. She set out on a quest to find the elusive bird. She traveled from one corner of the kingdom to another, roamed through forests, climbed mountains, sat by rivers, yet nowhere did she find the golden bird. Fatigue set in, but she did not give up. One day, she reached an old sage who understood nature's language. The princess asked him, "Will I ever find the golden bird?" The sage smiled gently and said, "The golden bird is not to be found, but to be attracted. It comes only to those whose hearts are pure, who earn worthiness through genuine care and patience." The princess realized she needed to stop searching externally for the bird. She turned inward and understood she must be even more caring towards nature and animals and deepen her relationship with the natural world. Returning to the palace, she began to nurture nature with even greater dedication. She would converse with every flower, water the trees with her own hands, and tended to injured animals. The sincerity and devotion in her heart spread throughout. Finally, one serene morning, as she was watching the sunrise in the garden, a dazzling golden-feathered bird suddenly perched on her shoulder. She gazed in amazement as the bird looked at her with deep affection. Then the bird began to sing in a sweet melody that seemed to spread magical joy throughout the kingdom. The princess then understood, true care, patience, and sincerity bring forth genuine beauty and blessings. Not external quests, but inner purity achieves the best rewards. From that day, the golden bird became the princess's companion. Together, they safeguarded nature's beauty, assisted animals, and brought peace and joy to the kingdom. The people learned that with real love and devotion, nature returns its greatest rewards. Thus, the golden princess and the golden bird were bound in an extraordinary bond. A timeless symbol of not just external riches, but of sincerity, care, and unity with nature. One day, a little sweet girl named Leah was celebrating her birthday with boundless excitement. Her mother had baked a grand chocolate cake for her, and all her friends had gathered to wish her well. But just when it was time to cut the cake, something magical happened. As soon as Leah placed the knife on the cake, a golden light started emanating from its center. In an instant, Leah and her friends found themselves in an enchanting realm, a kingdom where everything was made of cake. Leah looked around in wonder. The streets were as crispy as biscuits, the houses were soft like sponge cakes, rivers flowed with molten chocolate, and instead of snow, the sky rained sugar and colorful confetti. Soon, they noticed a tiny, purple cake fairy flying towards them. The fairy, with a warm smile, said, "Welcome, Leah. You are a guest in the land of cakes. Everything here is sweet, but we have a problem. A mischievous chewing gum giant is eating all our cakes." Determined to help, Leah and her friends brainstormed a plan with the fairy. They crafted icing guns, made chocolate balls, and set a giant trap laced with colorful candies. Finally, when the giant arrived, they ensnared him with a chocolate net. But then, Leah realized the giant wasn't truly wicked. He was simply very hungry. So, Leah organized a grand cake festival for everyone in the kingdom, where everyone could eat cakes together. The giant cried with joy and said, "I promise never to harm the land of cakes again." From that day on, everyone in the land of cakes lived happily and peacefully. Suddenly, Leah opened her eyes. She found herself back at her birthday party. Her friends were cheering, and the chocolate cake was still before her. She realized that it had been a fun dream. However, there was one surprising thing. She still had a small piece of chocolate in her hand, which she had grabbed before leaving the land of cakes. Leah smiled to herself. Perhaps the land of cakes was real after all.
In the deep woods lived a mother goat and her 7 little kids. They were content, but always aware of the cunning wolf lurking in the forest, scheming to eat them. Before going out to gather food, the mother goat warned her children, "Listen, do not open the door until I return. The wolf is clever. Identify him by his hoarse voice and black paws." The kids nodded in agreement. "We will be very careful, Mother." Soon after, the wolf came to the door and said, "Open the door, little ones. It is your mother." But the kids recognized the coarse voice, and one of them exclaimed, "You are not our mother. Your voice is gruff and hoarse." Frustrated, the wolf devised a plan. He went to a nearby shop and ate chocolates and honey to soften his voice. Returning with a gentle tone, he said, "Open the door, little ones. It is your mother." The kids were almost convinced, but they glimpsed his black paws under the door. One said, "Your paws are not white like our mother's. You are lying." Undeterred, the wolf went to a baker and covered his paws with white flour to make them look white. He approached the door again and said, "Children, trust me this time. I am your mother." Seeing the white paws, the kids opened the door without suspicion. As soon as the door was open, the wolf rushed inside. The kids scattered. One hid under the bed, another inside the cupboard. Someone crept inside the grandfather clock. But the wolf found and swallowed each one, except the smallest, who hid inside the clock and was safe. Later, the mother goat returned to find the door open and everything in shambles. She cried, "Where are my children?" The smallest kid emerged, teary-eyed, from the clock and narrated the whole tragedy. Enraged, the mother goat rushed to the woods and found the wolf sleeping soundly under a tree with a full, fat belly. Grabbing a pair of scissors, she quietly approached him and cut open his belly, freeing her kids, one by one, who emerged unharmed. They then filled the wolf's stomach with heavy stones and sewed it shut. When the wolf awoke, he felt thirsty and approached the river to drink. Overcome by the weight of stones, he lost his balance and fell into the river, drowning. Hugging her kids close, the mother goat said, "It is crucial to be vigilant. Always discern whether someone is deceiving you." From that day forward, they lived more wisely and safely, restoring peace to the forest.
In a beautiful palace, Princess Nyla lived, vibrant, sweet, and mischievous. Her most cherished possession was a pair of shiny golden shoes, gifted to her on her birthday. One day, Princess Nyla was playing in the palace garden. She was running, jumping, and talking to the flowers. Suddenly, she felt that one of her feet was bare. She looked down and saw that one of her golden shoes was missing. Nyla searched everywhere, but there was no trace of the shoe. Feeling dejected, she said, "Where has my favorite shoe gone?" Determined, Nyla decided she would find the shoe herself. First, she went to the kingdom's peacocks. She asked them, "Have you seen my golden shoe?" The peacocks shook their heads. "No, Princess. We are too busy with our feathers." Next, she approached the rabbits in the palace garden. The rabbit said, "We've only been eating carrots, not looking for shoes." Princess Nyla then went to the little river. She asked, "Oh, river, have you seen my golden shoe?" The river smiled gently and said, "Your shoe? Yes, I saw a squirrel taking it away." Nyla hurried to the tree where the squirrel was perched. In a sweet tone, she asked, "Did you take my shoe?" The squirrel, a bit embarrassed, admitted, "I found your shoe, and it was so beautiful that I was playing with it." Nyla laughed and said, "But it's my favorite shoe. If you return it, I'll bring you some sweet nuts." The squirrel happily returned the shoe. Nyla joyfully returned to the palace. When something is lost, instead of feeling sad, it's better to try and find it. And sweet words solve every problem. In a faraway land, there was a beautiful kingdom named Indradhanupur, where spring never ended and the surroundings were always lush with flowers and fruits. The princess of this kingdom was named Ilham. But she was no ordinary princess. She had a unique blessing. Whenever she laughed, her skin would change color. Because of her changing colors, everyone called her the colorful princess. Everyone in the kingdom loved Ilham, but one day, a dark wizard came to the kingdom and declared, "Your colorful power will not last forever. If you do not find true joy after the full moon, all your colors will fade away and you will turn gray." The king and queen were frightened. Ilham herself became worried. She was always happy, but how was she to find this true joy? The princess wanted to remain colorful, so she set out on a quest to find true happiness. She first went to the Mountain of Gold, where there was an abundance of wealth. But even though she smiled at the sight, her colors started to fade. Then she went to the Silver Lake, with its crystal clear waters. Yet, it did not satisfy her heart. Finally, she reached a small village where poor but happy people lived. She saw a little girl in a tattered dress handing her mother a flower. Both of them were beaming with joy. Ilham asked in amazement, "You don't have fine clothes or good food, yet why are you so happy?" The little girl replied, "I am happy with what I have. Love and care are true joy." Hearing these words, Ilham's heart illuminated with a new light. She realized that true happiness comes from love and helping others. She stayed in the village for a few days, helping people, playing with them, and sharing in their happiness. And wonder of wonders, her colors became even more vibrant, more beautiful and radiant than before. The night passed, but her colors did not fade. The dark wizard's curse was broken, for Ilham had found true happiness. Princess Ilham returned to her kingdom, but she did not confine herself to her palace. She filled her entire kingdom with love. From then on, Indradhanupur was not just colorful with flowers, but also with the laughter of its people. True joy lies not in riches, but in love and helping others. Long ago, there was a dreamlike kingdom called Soharan. Verdant forests, golden fields of rice, and silvery rivers created an exquisite scene there. King Salman and Queen Meru were happy, though they shared one sorrow: they had no child. One full moon night, a beautiful daughter was born in a garden of white roses. She was named Era. But amidst the joy and celebrations, something astonishing happened. Soon after her birth, the princess began to disappear slowly. The kingdom's finest magicians were summoned. An elderly sorceress examined and declared, "This child is blessed, but a mysterious test is written in her fate. She will only be visible when she feels true love." The king and queen were astounded, for they were raising her with love. The sorceress shook her head and added, "The love must be selfless, devoid of any desire to gain something in return. Only such love will break this curse." Era grew up, but everyone could see her only as a faint golden shadow. No one could touch her, no one played with her. The more her parents loved her, the more she wondered, "Will I ever be seen in my true colors?" One day, Era wandered out of the palace alone. She ventured into the deep forest, where secrets lay hidden. There, she saw a young boy being bullied by some mean children. Era stepped forward and said, "Leave him alone. but the bullies couldn't see her. They were terrified because an invisible force pushed them, and they fled. The boy, wiping his eyes, asked, "Who are you? Where are you?" Era replied, "I am your friend." The boy said, "Whoever you are, you saved my life. Thank you. You are a true friend." Just then, an extraordinary event occurred. Era's body lit up, and her form gradually emerged. For the first time, someone felt not her presence, but her heart. When Era returned to the palace, everyone stared in amazement. She was completely visible. The kingdom realized that true love is not just about blood relations, but comes from deep within the heart. King Salman and Queen Meru wept with joy. Their daughter would never be invisible again. From then on, Era was not just a princess. She became a symbol of love and kindness. She taught her kingdom what true love really meant. From that time, the kingdom of Soharan became renowned not only for its beauty, but also for the love of its people. Love finds its fullness not only in itself, but in being felt for others.
Once upon a time, there was a small kingdom named Norvally. In this kingdom, there was a miraculous garden called the Enchanted Garden. It was no ordinary garden. The flowers could talk, the trees sang songs, and the vines shifted their places on their own. This garden was guarded by a golden feathered bird named Reina. But one day, a mysterious event occurred. Princess Neha had loved this garden since her childhood. Her favorite was a blue rose bush that only bloomed at night. One morning, she noticed the blue rose was missing. Astonished, she asked Reina the guardian bird, "Where's my blue rose?" Reina responded in a solemn voice, "Someone has stolen it. If it doesn't return, the entire garden will perish." Neha was terrified. She began to explore the hidden paths of the garden. Along the way, the soul of an ancient tree told her, "Your rose is hidden in the land of the enchanted storm." Fearless, Neha entered the stormy land. There she found a black sorcerer clutching the rose. She said, "This is the life of my garden. Give it back to me." The sorcerer laughed and said, "To possess it, you must answer 3 riddles." The 3 riddles were: First riddle, what is something that doesn't diminish when shared, but rather increases? Neha thought for a moment, then answered, "Love." The sorcerer nodded. "Very well. Now the second riddle." Second riddle, what never moves forward, only stays behind? Neha replied, "The past." The sorcerer's eyes gleamed with anger. "If you answer the last riddle correctly, the rose will be yours." Third riddle, what can be felt without being seen and possesses the greatest strength? Neha smiled and said, "Faith." The sorcerer was taken aback, knowing the princess was truly wise and brave. He released the rose. Neha returned and placed the rose back in its spot. Instantly, the garden came back to life. The flowers laughed, the trees burst into song, and Reina soared down, saying, "You have saved us, Neha." From that day onward, the enchanted garden became even more beautiful, and Princess Neha became the true protector of the kingdom. With courage, wisdom, and faith, any formidable challenge can be conquered. In the mystical kingdom of Mythali resided a prince named Aberson. The citizens adored him for his bravery, intelligence, and unwavering desire to tread on the path of righteousness. His heart overflowed with compassion and empathy, bringing peace and happiness during his reign. One day, an elderly courtier told him, "Prince, to the east of our kingdom lies a mysterious mountain harboring a magical Pegasus. This horse, with wings strong enough to soar through the skies, grants its possessor the power to become an undefeatable ruler of the world." Intrigued by the tale, Prince Aberson resolved to find this magical steed. He believed that acquiring the Pegasus would enable him to govern his kingdom with even greater wisdom and strength. Setting out on his journey, one moonlit night, he encountered a mystical fairy named Nilanjana in a dense forest. Her eyes harbored an unfathomable mystery, and her sweet smile mirrored the moonlight. Nilanjana said, "Prince, the Pegasus will belong only to a true-hearted and brave soul. But first, a challenging trial awaits, as a wizard guards it atop the mountain." She advised, "Your courageous heart must be pure. You'll have to solve 3 riddles accurately to reach the Pegasus." Prepared for the trial, a person climbed the mountain with steadfast courage and heart, and there confronted a powerful wizard named Ashran. Ashran declared, "You must answer these 3 riddles correctly. A single error, and you shall never behold the Pegasus." With confidence and quick wit, a person answered the riddles correctly, outsmarting the wizard Ashran. Instantly, a breathtaking sight unveiled at the mountain's peak. The Pegasus, its golden wings shimmering brightly against the sky. This mythical beast bore immense power, aligning only with a valiant and kind prince deserving of its alliance. Mounting the Pegasus, a person soared across the skies, his rule now fortified with the awe-inspiring Pegasus, a symbol of unmatched strength and beauty. The citizens witnessed the dawn of a new era, where the friendship between a virtuous and courageous prince and his magical steed flourished unfettered. Alongside was Nilanjana, whose guidance contributed to a bright and peaceful future for the kingdom.
Once upon a time, in the kingdom of Rosalia, there lived a young woman named Cinderella. To everyone around, she was just a simple maid, a mere servant to her stepmother and stepsisters. Yet, within the depths of her heart, lay a different dream. Cinderella yearned not just to dance or dress like a princess. She wanted to write her own destiny. When night fell over the castle and everyone was asleep, Cinderella would secretly practice sword fighting. She used kitchen knives to learn minor battle techniques and read old manuals from the kingdom's library to understand strategic warfare. Her secret mentor was an old guard who knew the true history of the kingdom. He once told her, "You are not just a maid, Cinderella. The power of your lineage flows within you." Initially, she was skeptical, but he revealed that her father was a great warrior who had been betrayed and murdered, and her mother was a true princess. Realizing this, Cinderella understood that her stepmother was not merely cruel, but one of the conspirators who had destroyed her family. She vowed to reclaim her kingdom and become a princess in her own right. A grand festival was announced, where everyone would have the chance to meet the prince. Cinderella knew this was her chance. But she had no intention of enchanting the prince with a glass slipper. She wanted to define her identity with her own strength. The fairy godmother didn't give her a gown, but instead a sword. "The magic lies within you, Cinderella. Tonight, you won't just dance. Tonight, you will fight." As the festival began, Cinderella entered wearing a black mask. She witnessed her stepmother and her cronies scheming to assassinate the king. She did not hesitate. Raising her sword high in front of the kingdom, she cried out, "For years, you have wronged our people. Today, it's time to put an end to that." An exhilarating battle ensued. Cinderella used all her training to defeat her enemies one by one. Finally, she stood before her stepmother. "You are just a servant. What can you possibly do?" the stepmother scoffed. Cinderella smiled. "I'm not just a servant. I am the heir of this kingdom." She saved the king, thwarted their evil plans, and revealed her true identity. Cinderella was not just a princess. She was a warrior, a true leader who fought against tyranny. During her reign, the kingdom never suffered from corruption again, and everyone remembered her not just as Cinderella, but as Cinderella, the warrior princess. Strength is born not from lineage, but from confidence and struggle. Deep in the forest, in a lonely hut, lived an old woman. Age had bent her body, but her mind was as fresh as a child's. She was alone in the world, So she spent her days talking to the birds of the forest and laughing at her reflection in the river's waters. Yet, there was a sadness within her. She had no children. One stormy night, the wind roared, lightning flashed in the darkness, and in the middle of the forest appeared a mysterious light. The next morning, while walking along the edge of the forest, the old woman discovered something sparkling on the ground. Her eyes widened in astonishment. It was a massive golden egg. The old woman picked up the egg and lovingly whispered, "If you become my child, I'll hold you close to my heart." She took the egg home and nestled it in fluff, hoping it would one day hatch. Days passed, nights too, until one midnight, suddenly crack, crack, crack was heard. The old woman rushed over and saw that the egg was breaking apart. There was a remarkable sight. From inside the egg emerged a lovely girl. Her hair shimmered like gold, her eyes were crystal clear, and her skin glowed like the moonlight. The old woman exclaimed, "Who are you, my dear?" The girl sweetly replied, "I am your egg daughter." Tears of joy filled the old woman's eyes. She named the girl Sanaban. Sanaban grew up, and tales of her beauty and mystical powers spread throughout the forest. The birds spoke with her, the deer came running at her call, and even the springs sang sweetly at her touch. But one day, these tales reached the ears of the forest's fearsome king, Tiger Man. He declared, "The most beautiful girl in my forest shall be my queen." He sent his huge army to capture Sanaban. The old woman wept, "I will not let go of my egg daughter." But Tiger Man's forces came and began to take Sanaban away. Just then, a storm erupted in the sky, lightning struck the ground, and a mysterious golden bird flew in. The bird spoke, "Sanaban, you were born from an egg. Within you lies the power to transform." Sanaban felt a thrill within her chest. She spread her arms, and in an instant, massive golden wings sprouted from her back. She soared into the sky in one leap. Her eyes blazed, and raising her hand, she declared, "I am no one's servant. I am the forest guardian." In an instant, power rippled through the air, and Tiger Man's soldiers fled in terror. The old woman cried with joy, "My egg daughter is not only beautiful, she is the queen of the forest." From that day on, Sanaban became the protector of the forest. No one could harm the weak or commit injustice. The old woman remained in her hut, but she was no longer alone. Her egg daughter, the forest's queen, soared through the skies every day, guarding the forest's peace and happiness. And all the creatures of the forest called her our golden fairy, our egg daughter. In a remote corner of a dense forest stood a mysterious palace that had been part of folklore for generations. Some said it housed a cursed treasure of a king, others whispered it was crafted by a sorcerer, where anyone who entered would vanish forever. The most astonishing aspect, however, was that the palace was split into two parts. On one side was the gold room, and on the other, the silver room. The gold room was clad entirely in pure gold. Walls, windows, floors, everything was so bright that when sunlight touched it, the entire forest would light up. From afar, it looked like a little sun hidden among the trees. But if anyone tried to enter out of greed, a bizarre event would occur. All objects would become intangible, disappearing into thin air. On the other hand, the silver room shone with a magical moonlight. At night, it became so bright that it felt like the moon itself resided there. Inside, sweet melodies would play, countless birds would sing, and the air seemed full of stories. But if anyone tried to touch the silver walls, the entire room would vanish in an instant, and the person would be lost in time for a few moments. Between these two rooms was a small stone courtyard where an old guard sat. No one had ever seen him walk, eat, or sleep, yet he had been guarding there for centuries. It was said that only one with a truly selfless heart could uncover the mystery of these two rooms. One day, a princess named Nova arrived. She was brave, intelligent, and graceful. Nova first stood before the gold room. She reached out, but couldn't grasp anything. Then she entered the silver room. Suddenly, she heard sweet music, but as she went to touch the wall, the room instantly vanished. Undeterred and unafraid, Nova stood between the two rooms, closed her eyes, and began to sense the energy around her. She realized then that the allure of gold and silver was merely an illusion hiding the true path. Only a heart free of greed, eyes that search for deeper beauty, could reveal the hidden truth of these rooms. Nova smiled gently, then extended her hands. Instantly, a breathtaking event unfolded. The air grew heavy, as if an unseen force was present. Dazzling light emerged from the gold room, while a mystic bluish mist flowed from the silver room. As the two powers touched, a thunderclap sounded in the sky. Then, darkness enveloped everything. Nova could see nothing. She felt as if time had stood still, as if she was floating in a void. Just at that moment, a soft voice whispered from nowhere, "Are you truly ready? Once this mystery door opens, you may never return." Nova paused. Was this the test? Was this the secret power that had eluded everyone? She took a deep breath, looked ahead with courageous eyes, and said, "I am ready. Open the door to truth." Instantly, the storm's roar ceased. The surrounding darkness rolled back, revealing a new world, a supernatural palace crafted from the union of gold and silver, a sight never before seen. It was a magical realm where not the lure of gold or silver, but wisdom, purity of heart, and love were the greatest powers. From that day on, the palace deceived no one. Whoever visited replaced greed with a lesson. True light and beauty reveal themselves only to those who truly know how to love.
In a distant world, there existed a wondrous fairy kingdom, Silverglow. This realm was illuminated by magical light, inaccessible to humans, for it was inhabited by a mysterious race, the unicorn fairies. They were magical beings, with plumage that shimmered with a bluish light, and each fairy was accompanied by a unicorn with a silvery horn. These unicorns were pure not only in body, but also in spirit. An ancient prophecy foretold, one day, a fairy will be born with wings that play with 7 colors of light, and her unicorn's horn will be made of pure silver. She will be the true guardian of light. But if anyone covets her power and tries to steal it, the entire kingdom of Silverglow will be engulfed in eternal darkness. And this fairy was born. Her name was Sylphra. She was different from all the other fairies. Whenever sunlight touched her wings, they glistened like a rainbow. Her unicorn, Orion, was the fastest and strongest, with a horn made of pure silver. In a distant kingdom, an evil sorcerer named Marcus Knox learned of this legend. He realized that if he could obtain Sylphra's unicorn's silver horn, he would become immortal and invincible. So, under the cover of night, he infiltrated the Silverglow kingdom with a band of shadow warriors. The kingdom trembled. The air grew heavy, birds fell silent, and fireflies dimmed. Sylphra sensed something dreadful approaching. Yet she knew victory was not to be found in battle, for the sorcerer's power was terrifying. She spoke to her unicorn, Orion, "Our strength is not for fighting, but for protecting the light." Orion gazed at her, a deep understanding gleaming in his eyes. Sylphra closed her eyes, and her wings swayed in 7 hues. Then, her unicorn's silver horn flared, flooding the entire kingdom with light. Marcus Knox screamed, "No, I cannot bear such pure light." His shadow warriors turned to dust, and he too slowly vanished. Sylphra's light rejuvenated the entire kingdom. Birds began to sing, the waterfalls sparkled brighter than before, and the fireflies glowed like stars in the sky. From that day on, Sylphira became known as the light guardian fairy, and the unicorns became their eternal friends and protectors. And thus, a new legend was born. Whenever the world's light is in peril, a unicorn fairy will be born anew, and with their magic, they will banish the darkness forever.
Once upon a time, there was an extraordinary land called the Realm of the Rainbow, where all colors in the sky were alive. Each color was a symbol of power, and every citizen of the realm possessed the strength of these colors. At the center of the realm stood a magnificent mountain, atop which was a special palace where the king and queen resided. Each part of the realm had people possessing a specific color. Red belonged to the brave soldiers, blue to the wise scholars, green to the diligent farmers, and yellow to the happy and carefree people. However, a danger loomed over the realm of the rainbow as a dark color, black, slowly began to spread throughout the realm. The power of the black color was strange. It began erasing all colors and dimming their brightness. Fear gripped the hearts of the people, and they set out to find a mighty warrior who could protect the realm. That warrior was named Mayabadi, a young woman who possessed the most potent color strength in the realm of the rainbow. Mayabadi had learned from her mother that hidden within the rainbow was a special force, a color that could overcome the dark power of the black color. This color was sound, the color of words. If used correctly, it could enhance the other color's brightness and strength, eradicating the black color altogether. Mayabadi, along with her brave friends, embarked on a journey. They traversed mountains, forests, and rivers and finally arrived at a mysterious cave. There they found an ancient mantra capable of dispelling the dark power of the black color. Mayabadi and her team began to chant the mantra, and gradually all the colors of the rainbow returned to the sky. The dark power of the black color faded, and the realm of the rainbow regained its former brilliance. After returning to the realm, Mayabadi protected it with her strength, and the realm's inhabitants learned that true power is possible only through unity. Everyone in the realm of the rainbow came together, drawing on each other's strengths, making the realm even more beautiful and powerful. Thus, the realm of the rainbow was filled with peace and beauty once again, and in everyone's heart, a new understanding of the true power of colors was born. In a remote village nestled against cold mountains, where snow fell year after year and the sun's light barely reached, there existed a kingdom of ice, white and silent and cold. Within this icy realm lived a young girl named Neela. Neela's skin was as white as snow, and her eyes sparkled with a gentle red glow. Her heart was as cold as ice, but within her lay a special power. She could create ice at will. The villagers called her the Ice Princess. Yet they were unaware that her powers were more than just the ability to create cold and ice. She could craft an energy capable of dispelling all their chill and solitude. Neela never understood why she had this power. She knew there would come a change in her life that would turn her world upside down. One day, a fierce cold descended on the village that was unlike anything they'd ever experienced, threatening the villagers' lives. Everything was covered in ice, and this cold was threatening the villagers' lives. Every tree, every house, even the animals were in danger. The villagers, frightened, came to Neela, but wanted to keep their distance. At that time, a young man named Aryan arrived in the village. He was brave and compassionate, with a deep faith in people. Aryan realized that Neela possessed a unique power that could warm and enliven the icy world. He told Neela, "You hold a power within you that can paint the world anew. If you understand, you can change yourself and save this world." Neela, disheartened, said, "How can I bring light to the cold?" Aryan laughed and replied, "We must help one another and try to do something together. If you can open your heart, then I'm sure you can conjure a magic stronger than ice." With these words, they set out together. They embarked on a timeless journey, one that took them deep into the icy mountains. Many days and nights they traveled together, overcoming one challenge after another, until they reached the dwelling of a magical fire dragon. The dragon had been asleep for centuries and was an ancient source of energy that knew how to maintain balance between cold and warmth. The dragon told them, "If you work together, then the world can regain its old warmth. The love and courage in your hearts can warm the earth." Through their combined courage and determination, Neela and Arian unlocked the dragon's fiery power, and with its brilliant light, the world began to warm once more. The ice-bound kingdom, once shackled by cold, gradually transformed. It became a vibrant, warm, and lively realm where happiness and joy flowed eternal. The villagers came to them, tears in their eyes and smiles on their faces. They said, "You are not just the ice princess and the brave youth. You have brought a new dawn of light into our lives. Thanks to you, our world has come alive again." Neela learned that power is not just strength. It comes from the depths of the heart, love, and compassion for others. Once upon a time, there was a princess named Labani who was exceptionally beautiful and intelligent. Her kingdom was abundant with riches, yet her heart harbored a secret desire to discover a new, mysterious world. One day, while wandering through the old chambers of the palace, Labani stumbled upon an ancient lamp. Driven by curiosity, she cleaned it, only for the surroundings to illuminate with a dazzling light. Suddenly, a mysterious genie emerged and said, "O magnificent princess, you have freed me, tell me, how can I serve you?" Although initially taken aback, Labani quickly composed herself and replied, "I wish to travel to new places and embark on an adventurous quest." The genie smiled and said, "Then prepare yourself, for a magical adventure awaits." With the lamp's power, Labani flew to a mysterious desert island, where colorful fountains, talking animals, and mountains of gold awaited. But lurking there was a terrifying shadow intent on capturing this genie. Without hesitation, Labani declared, "I will protect you. You have brought me to such a beautiful world. Now I cannot leave you at your peril." The genie smiled gently, though his eyes revealed concern. He explained, "That shadow is actually an ancient sorcerer who has long sought to imprison me, aiming to take all the lamp's power for himself. If he succeeds, this world of magic will be destroyed." Just then, a swirling dark plume appeared in the sky. From the smoke emerged a tall, menacing sorcerer named Jaffrin, whose eyes blazed like fire. He proclaimed, "Haha, at last, the magical lamp will be mine." Yet Labani was unafraid. She used her wit to inquire of the genie, "Am I the master of your lamp?" The genie nodded. "Yes, you are indeed my master." Labani promptly ordered, "I wish for this sorcerer to be banished forever, so he can never harm anyone again." Instantly, the genie raised his hand to unleash a storm of light. Jaffrin shrieked as he melted into a coil of smoke and vanished without a trace. The surroundings grew calm. Labani and the genie exchanged smiles. The genie said, "You are not only brave but wise too. I can fulfill every wish you desire in life." However, Labani shook her head, "I wish for you to be free. I want you to live by your own will, not by fulfilling anyone's desires at the cost of imprisonment." The genie was astounded. He had served many masters over the years, but none had thought of freeing him. He replied, "For your noble heart, I will remain as your friend, Labani. I shall not leave you, as now I stay by my own choice." Labani and the genie returned to the kingdom together, where Labani became a great ruler. She governed wisely and kindly, with a loyal friend by her side, a magical genie who is no longer captive, but truly free. Far away from the city, beyond the Black Mountains, lay an enigmatic forest known as the Enchanted Raindrop Grove. By day, glistening sunbeams danced upon the shadows, while by night, a bluish mist hung from the branches. Within this forest dwelled 4 mysterious witches: Blood Lotus, Nightbird, Dream Cloud, and Lullaby Woods. They were the epitome of beauty, and their powers were indescribable. Yet, a curse bound them within the forest. Since ancient times, the 4 witches served as guardians of a great power, the azure crystal. No one knew what it could do, but it was said that whoever mastered it could shatter the laws of time and reality. Once, a fearsome sorcerer named Rakton sought to claim the crystal. The 4 witches opposed him, and in a fierce battle, they thwarted Rakton's magic. But before dying, Rakton cursed them. "This forest shall be your only sanctuary, and upon the 4th hour of the full moon night, you will not recognize one another." Many years passed. One day, a mysterious traveler named Anil appeared near the enchanted raindrop grove. He was an explorer who had read about the azure crystal in ancient books. As he reached the forest's edge, he sensed something amiss. The air felt heavy, and the birds were silent. Venturing deeper, he discovered the 4 witches trapped in a strange magical circle. Their eyes were dull, as if they couldn't recognize themselves. Anil quickly realized the curse had reactivated. He determined to free the witches from their curse. From old texts, he learned that Rakton's spirit still roamed the forest, lurking in the shadows. If it discovered the azure crystal again, it could return. At midnight, Anil enlisted the aid of the forest creatures. Nocturnal owls told him, "Bloom 3 fire flowers at the secret cave door to reveal the path." He collected these flowers, placed them at the cave entrance, and a wondrous door opened. Inside, he found the azure crystal hovering in midair, surrounded by swirling shadows. Suddenly, a sharp laugh echoed. Rakton's shadow had come alive. "Did you think you would escape so easily?" Rakton's shadow taunted. In an instant, the whole cave trembled. The 4 witches appeared, yet their eyes remained shrouded in mist. Anil understood that he must restore their true memories. He swiftly grasped the azure crystal. He declared, "This light reveals your true identity." An explosion occurred. The 4 witches screamed, and suddenly clarity flashed in their eyes. Rakton's shadow instantly vanished. The curse was broken. The 4 witches slowly approached Anil, smiling. "You showed us true friendship," said Nightbird. Dreamcloud added, "We are free now, but without your bravery, this wasn't possible." Lullaby Woods confirmed, "This forest will be as it was before, a place of magical beauty." Finally, they became the guardians of enchanted Raindrop Grove once more, while Anil returned as the hero of a new tale. A team of explorers discovered a mysterious island in the ocean. Old documents and maps claimed that deep within the island was hidden a priceless treasure. The team's leader, Arisen, a brave and intelligent adventurer, set off towards the unknown island. 3 days after their journey began, their ship was caught in a strange storm. Amidst the dark clouds and flashes of lightning, the ship eventually arrived at an unfamiliar shore. Upon landing on the island, they realized it was no ordinary island. Strange plants surrounded them, a constant hum permeated the air, and bizarre shadows occasionally appeared in the mist. The team's researcher, Maliha, remarked, "These plants are unusual. It feels like they're watching us." The team moved deeper into the island. Eventually, they discovered an ancient stone door with unknown inscriptions etched onto it. The team's archaeologist, Sharon, said, "These seem to be warning signs of a curse. Is it wise to open it?" But Arisen did not hesitate. Upon opening the door, a loud rumble echoed, and out came a shadowy figure. Its eyes blazed like fire, and in a solemn voice, it declared, "To claim the treasure, you must prove yourselves." Suddenly, the cavern walls illuminated with a glowing array of lights. The team saw 3 paths ahead, and the shadowy figure said, 3 paths, only one is correct. Choose wrongly, and eternal curse awaits. Horizon and the team discussed. The first path was shrouded in darkness, the second emitted a strange melody, while the third had a mysterious reflection at its entrance. They chose the second path. As they proceeded, they encountered a massive stone bridge with a fierce red light below it. Suddenly, in the middle of the bridge, they saw a giant serpent guarding the way. Maliha whispered, "Is it real or an illusion?" Horizon bravely approached the serpent and said, "We are the rightful heirs of the treasure. Let us pass." Strangely, the serpent dissolved into mist. They quickly moved forward. Eventually, they reached a grand golden door with cryptic mathematical symbols carved into it. Sharon solved the symbols, and as the door opened, they beheld the treasure, priceless gems, gold coins, and lost manuscripts of history. But then, the shadowy figure reappeared. It said, "To take the treasure, a sacrifice is required." Horizon stepped forward and said, "We are here not for greed, but to gain knowledge. We will use this treasure for the benefit of humanity." The shadowy figure paused for a moment and then said, "Then go. The treasure is yours." They returned with the treasure and, mysteriously, the island vanished into the deep sea. The tale of this expedition became history, proving that with courage, intelligence, and honesty, any mystery can be unveiled.